I didn't see the pictures, but since I was there at the Parliament, I share that experience. Um, for me, the central, I think, image that is a lasting image for me is that all the people were there were a wave of the golden age. They were the first wave of the golden age and what the possibilities lie ahead for all humanity. So to be in the presence of the people who are out there in the trenches doing the work and who are both rooted in their contemplative experience, but also rooted in a sacred activism, I think that is the essential difference that I have seen over the last 30 or 40 years at all the parliaments, because I've actually been to all of the parliaments, including 1993. So that what you see, I think in this parliament, what I saw at least was the confluence of these two large currents and the de-emphasis on religion as a box which separates us. Rather, these are schools of thoughts that people have joined to attain the same oneness and the same spiritual realization that the founders have come to bring into enlighten us with. So there was a much greater sense of brotherhood, sisterhood, and sense of oneness at this conference as opposed to previous conferences. So a lot of the labeling, a lot of the scene was greatly diminished. And just being around like minds of much with great generosity and great hope is always an uplifting experience. Those are my few thoughts.
I have a question, Andrew. You had been to the other parliaments and you said that this one was different. Do you know why it was different? Was it the planning by the parliament, or do you think it was a response to the great need that we have right now? What brought about that change as you saw it and experienced it?
Well, there is a shift in awareness around three areas. One, first, a shift in awareness about religion and the role of religion. So in the first parliament, you see a lot of what I call maneuvering and positioning, where people came not so much to learn, but to promote and proselytize, even though it be subtle.
Yeah.
So that has shifted over the last 3 or 4 parliaments, and it has moved away from that. The second big change was that instead of having long-winded speeches from people who are representatives of, let's say, major, I would call them fossilized religions, in their silos, so to speak, what you had people who were outside of the religious box. It doesn't mean they were not religious, but were truly spiritual in their intentions and in their work. And these are the people who have really gone out and tried to make a radical shift in the work that they do in the planet. So that's it. And then the third big difference is that the emergence of a set of common goals that the interfaith, and we're not even calling it interfaith anymore, it's interspiritual, is the new buzzword. And aptly is that people are recognizing that what's important is not just professing it, but the degree that you walk your talk in real life. So that speakers who were present were fundamentally rooted in their traditions, but also fundamentally rooted in a kind of sacred activism. And that lent a whole different quality to the conference. So those are some of the changes. There are others too.
Andrew, one last question, because we want everybody to stay with their own experiences also. Did it give you any new thoughts about what your own work means to you and to your the community that you serve, and that people who, even newer kinds of people, you might reach out to?
I would say that the work that I'm doing, what we're trying to do in the Sanma tradition, is essentially ground people in a spiritual practice. And I think that what I see now is that almost every single person I met there is recognizing the need to be a committed practitioner in their daily life in terms of prayer, meditation, etc. And so there's a big shift. I see that as the fundamental shift. And that changes the whole awareness and consciousness of not only who is there, but also the work that people do. Takes us out of kind of the egoic stance where we can often fall a prey to marginalizing other people or demonizing other people who are not like us or not doing this work, to a sense that of kind of unlimited forgiveness and unconditional acceptance of what's happening. So it doesn't really change my focus. It didn't really change my focus. What it did is it inspired me to realize that there are a lot more of us feeling a lot more of us in that category than before, and that there is a big shift, a huge shift in that awareness. That's, I think, the way I would see it.
That's good news. Thank you.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.